Hey Leo, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so we take what works, we leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. And if I don't catch your wavelength or your storyline on this reading, go check your other major placements, see if I didn't catch any. And even if I do, there's also been super helpful information for people in the other major placement readings. Also, I've been posting photos of the spread at the end for those of you who want to read along with me or just look at them more thoroughly on your own time or check my work, whatever you want to do. I've been doing that at the end there. So, all right, what do we have for Leo? Okay, that's a book. That's a book. I'm done. All right. Leo's tarot is ready to talk, but Leo does not want to talk. All right. Oh, boy. I don't even know how. Okay, we've got a change of seasons here. This, everything in your life is changing. You know, when you wake up in the morning, things are going to look really different. I mean, not when you wake up tomorrow morning, but things are going to change. And what your life looks like is changing a lot. And it doesn't have a lot to do, you're not the driver here. You're not the driver. You're in the passenger seat and it's happening to you. Oftentimes these are just changes of the seasons of our life. It's called change of seasons. So it's just like, you don't have to push it. You don't have to shove it. You don't have to do anything. You know, many people do not want kids until they hit a certain age. Some people continue not wanting kids, which is fine, which is great. But other people will hit a certain, and it's not a certain age, it's their certain age. And it just is a natural change of seasons, and suddenly they want kids. And they didn't have to do anything to get there. It just happened. It just was sort of in their DNA that at this point you change like this. And it just was something like that. So you've got a change of seasons. It's some sort of big changes in your life coming through. You're not in charge of them. You didn't decide necessarily for them. You're not necessarily a helpless victim of them, but I mean, and here you are, you're just down to your underwear and your clothes are getting changed for you. So it's time to change things up. But you don't have to do anything. It's just happening around you. We have this, how do I want to do this? Okay, you're looking at the past here, but you're not seeing it very clearly. You've changed. Lots of things have changed here. You've changed. You have changed. This may be affecting this change and having, you know, pulled that little thread to get that change. So you've changed in both obvious and very subtle ways, but you're also looking at the past. This is called Red Garden. You're looking at the past and you're seeing it in a way that's maybe lacking some clarity and maybe making it difficult for you to move forward. Your heart wants to keep going in the right direction, but your eyes, your mind is still really focused back there on what's happened, on what's gone on. You have this lullaby card, so this is like listening to your own melodies, listening to your own what's going on inside of you, meditation, self-reflection. We're getting out of our heads and really into our bodies and our other senses and what they have to say, what is their song, what's their vibe. So you've kind of stopped. Maybe stopped talking, maybe stopped communicating a little bit here. We have a lot about stopping communicating, not talking about something anymore. We have a lot about that going on, and you're just getting into a different way of knowing, a different way of understanding your vibration, your charge, what makes you tick. So this is a meditation. This is meditation. There's 1,000 great ways to meditate and different focuses. Meditation usually always involves some breath, some stillness, although there's walking meditation. It's anything intentional, I guess, is what we call meditation. But this is really about a meditation where you're getting into your own feelings, when your own vibe, your own vibration, your own feelings, and you're listening to that. You're listening to your own lullaby and not necessarily, these thoughts need to simmer down and go to sleep for a while. The brain needs to shoop, possibly because your brain's like kind of fucking things up right here. It's looking at the past, looking at something that's happened, and it's not seeing it correctly. So one of the solutions to that would be just stop thinking about it and that's so much easier said than done. But just stopping something, stopping thinking about something, stop analyzing something, letting something happen. Your heart really is wanting to move forward. We've got so much here about your heart wanting to move forward as we go on with this part of the reading here. But your brain's got to like shut down, and you just got to get more in touch with how you feel, because your heart has something to say. Your feelings have something to say to you, and you need to kind of stop this part, because whatever's going on up here isn't helping the situation. It's kind of mucking it up even more. So getting more meditative, more in your feelings. Here we have a night ride. So you've got a difficult passage in front of you. You have sort of these assistants and helpers. You might have a team. You're very protective of somebody, of something, possibly your inner child, possibly your dream, possibly actual children. You're very protective as you guys go through this difficult, confusing, cloudy, foggy swamp of just, it's not the sandy beach, the ocean, the sun. There's not like these nice delineations of like what's what and the layers and all that. This is just like a big mush pot. You're having to navigate through some pea soup while protecting something. So we have the elephant here with the excellent memory. And then we have the excellent vision. So different parts of yourself are contributing different aspects to this journey. But you're going through a little bit of something. I mean, this change here, this is dark here. So it could be like a little bit of a difficult change, very confusing situation that's going on here. And then you have these two cards, looking to the future. This one, you want to talk about something, but you're really holding it back. You don't want to talk. You're ready to talk. You're ready to move forward. You're ready to go somewhere, but you're not talking about it. You're really looking at the future, but you're not talking about it. Your heart's looking at the future, and maybe this is why you need to get into your heart space, because you need to hear what your heart has to say. But you're not going to be talking about it. There is so much silence in this. There's not stagnation. You are moving forward. You're moving forward very slowly through a very difficult thing, but you do not want to talk about it. So we have other cards that talk about not talking about it, but there's also stagnation. You could talk about it if you wanted to. It would move things forward if you did, but you're choosing not to. This is choosing not to talk about it, but you do have your eye on the prize, and you have your eye on the future, but you're not talking about it. You're not talking about it. You're not talking about it, and you are not talking about it. But you've changed. You got to turn your mind off for a little bit, though, as you kind of navigate this step by step. It feels like a whirlwind, but there's a lot of step by step slow movement as well. So this, like a bird, is just holding it back, not talking about it. You'd like to fly forward, but you're not. Maybe you're sticking with this elephant. Maybe you and this elephant are a team, and you're going to go step by step forward. You'd like to fly away. You'd like to fly away and move forward, but you're holding back. And this is to the moon and back again. You are dreaming about something far away, someplace in the future. You are sort of intuiting about where you're going with this, what's going to happen. But again, you're not taking movement. You're not talking about it. You're not, I'm not seeing stagnation energy. I'm seeing slow, feeling like a whirlwind. But needing to turn off the mind and go a little slow and hold back a little bit. So you've got some things on your heart. You've got something on your heart that you're definitely not sharing. And then you've got something you're really close to wanting to talk about. You're really close to wanting to share. Your mind is kind of stuck on the past, and it needs to shut down for a while, reboot, start looking to the future. And then you've got this... and these things on your heart that you'd like to talk about, but you're not ready to yet as you look towards the future and you start moving towards the future. You're going to start moving towards the future. It's going to be very slow, and you're not rushing, but you're definitely looking. This is sort of a week where you switch, I think. And I think the key to switching from looking at the past and and this sort of whirlwind feeling is turning off the mind, getting in touch with your body, getting in touch with your breath work, your own vibration, your own feelings, getting in touch with that. Stop worrying and mucking with it up here. It's not helping. And then you start moving forward towards the future very slowly, and you're really not saying very much about it right now, about where you're going, but you can see it. You start to see where you're going. But you have to stop looking at this thing. I think you got to turn your mind off a little bit in order to start feeling more about where you're. Let the elephant do the walking, and the wise owls rest for a little bit, while this sort of elephant creature, which I feel like is your feelings and is more intuitive, and it moves forward a little bit. Let it do the moving for a while you rest the wise owls, and let them. They're not stupid. They just need to rest sometimes and be quiet. Because we have a lot of birds here being protective, holding back. All right. Okay, Leo, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue, your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome? Oh, dear. It's okay. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Okay, Six of Wands. In your recent past, you've sort of had this like celebratory parade like thing, victories, people celebrating other people, being very happy for other people's accomplishments, people being happy for your accomplishments, you're being happy for other people's accomplishments. There's been a lot of celebration, a lot of happiness, a lot of kind of, I don't want to say teamwork. What I want to say is similar to teamwork. Team spirit of like, your victory is our victory is your victory, we're together here, we're celebrating as a community, that kind of thing. In the present situation, you're dealing with 10 of Wands. So this is the end of a big burden. This is the end of a difficult cycle. This is that moment when you're like, wait a minute, this is not my circus, and these are not my monkeys, and they never were. And now I'm seeing that I've been carrying around shit that was never mine to carry. So you could think of these as monkey tails, and these are not your monkeys. No, none of these monkeys are yours. Maybe one or two of them were yours, but then people just kept putting their monkeys on your back here, and you just kept moving forward and kept carrying them, and you've been carrying them for a very long time. So this can be putting down burdens of expectations from our families. This can be putting down burdens of expectations from other relationships, burdens that weren't ours to carry, that we took on out of the generosity of our hearts, perhaps, out of habit, perhaps, out of unconsciously, without even realizing it, which the fact that there's a card for this means that a lot of us do this. And there comes a time when it's just time to put that burden down. So that's what's going on in your present moment. However happy the things in the past have been, however, we have the Six of Wands, and this is the 10 of Wands. However happy this was, and people inspiring, and whatever this was, it's become a burden, and it's a bit time to put it down. In your inner landscape, you're thinking about some focused truths, some communication. You're thinking about the sword is communication, the sword is truth, the sword is clarity and understanding. You're thinking about that, you're hoping for that, you're hoping for some truth, some clarity. This is where you're going to get your clarity, because the mind's not giving it to you right now. So you're needing to go deeper, quieter to get that clarity. And so focus, clarity, and communication. This is what you're thinking about. This is what you want. This is what you'd like to have. What's at issue here is this Eight of Pentacles. So this is not being very focused at work, not enjoying the work that you have to do, not liking, and this doesn't have to be work. This can be work on our relationships, work on a variety of types of relationships. All of our relationships require some sort of effort. I hate to call it work. They do require effort and focus. When they start feeling like work it's just a question mark. It's not like then you get out of there, but it is like it starts to raise some questions when does it get too hard right? So this though is about Eight of Pentacles. This is about, you know, work not going well. The work that you have to do, the work that you have in front of you isn't really going well. You're not enjoying it anymore. You're not very focused on it anymore. It's maybe creating some difficulties in your life. This could be workaholism, where work is out of balance and somehow. So normally in the upper right, we take this Eight of Pentacles as enjoying our work, being very focused, being you know, happy to do it, liking the work, enjoying what it brings you, and being fascinated by things. But this is so it's that kind of vibe, but it goes wrong. So it's either workaholism, being way too focused on your work, not enjoying your work, or not enjoying the work that you have to do and what's in front of you, and you're just not having a good time with it. It's difficult, and you're not or not having work, as many people don't right now. There's just like a lack of focus. You're hoping, maybe this is why we've got this Knight of Swords. You're hoping for some focus here, some clarity, and right now it's just everything just feels drudge work, heavy, not fun, not good. You're not enjoying the work you have in front of you, and it's causing a problem. It's causing a problem that you've lost this joy and you've lost your interest in the work. In your environment, we have the Four of Pentacles. So this is maybe some other people are fascinated by this work. This is somebody or something around you is fascinating. It's not this anymore. It's not this Eight of Pentacles, but it's something else has caught your attention or is pulling focus here. So this is in your environment. So this could be just like something in your life. People are really focused on this one thing. This could be a little bit of why we're turning our brains off a little bit here, because the focus can be a little too intense. There can be a control issue going on, but there's also just fascination too. So this Four of Pentacles is holding on to what you already have, holding on to something tightly, closely. Various decks interpret it very differently. Some of them interpret it as, you know, being just absorbed by something and fascinated by something, and others interpret it as being possessive, being, so something in your environment could be very possessive or could just be fascinating. Your to-do list is unfortunately this Five of Wands. This is to have a discussion. It's possibly not going to go well, because look at all these ideas, fighting, competing ideas. So you're supposed to have an argument, bring something out into this open. This is exactly the very last thing you want to do. You do not want to talk about it. You're being called to talk about it and to have that discussion and to have that argument. To bring in, you're wanting clarity, you're wanting focus, you're wanting truth. Well, bring it. It's not going to be the easiest thing you've ever done. Do you want to do it? Hell no, you're done. But this is like, you got to have a talk. You got to talk it out. You got to communicate. You got to have an argument, really. And I hate arguments. I am a conflict avoider. And I think the world would be better if more of us were conflict avoiders. But when conflict happens, I try to do my best, to do my part, to make it as little conflicting as possible. But sometimes you cannot avoid it at all. And this is an unavoidable conflict. But you're being called to actually bring the conflict, to talk about it, to do it. There's some sort of conflict here that you need to engage in. So stop with the I'm not engaging. So if that's you, if you want to avoid conflict, and I think that you should, it is a good trait to have, but if you want to avoid conflict, it's time's up. You got to talk about it, and you got to, this is how you get this to go upright. It's like this, and if you want it upright, you're going to have to engage with it. You're going to have to say, I'm unhappy with this. I'm unhappy with the work that's gone on here. I'm unhappy with my job. I'm unhappy with not having a job. You got to talk about it and maybe even fight for what you believe in. What's the possibility here? Where we might be heading is the Artist. This is a confusing card because it's only in this deck. As far as I know, there could be other decks where they added a couple cards. So this one is the Artist. This is number 23. This is really engaging with reality. bringing your vision to reality, bringing your creativity, creative problem solving. Maybe, you know, we can't fix what we're not willing to acknowledge. So maybe something needs to be acknowledged and brought out to the open here so that it can be worked on and it can be fixed and it can be, so, but this can be vocation. We've got a lot here indicating that this is about vocation. I didn't get that from the first part, but we could be doing that with the second part because of this 8 of Pentacles here, this 4 of Pentacles, or we could also be talking relationships. Anyway, you'll know it triggers usually, especially the 6 of Wands. The past card will trigger an indication of what direction this whole reading is going to go to. To me, that's like the proof's in the pudding. If that past card resonates, then the rest of the card's going to resonate. And if you can identify what that past card's about, then the rest of the reading probably is just trying to open your minds to other ways of viewing things about that situation that we saw there in the past and the present. Those two cards are important to me, indicators of whether this is a reading for you or not. And what is it pertaining to exactly. So here's the artist. This is a possible outcome, you becoming an artist of some sort, which is, you know, some level of expertise, some level of inspired coordination or cooperation with the real world. See, he's looking at this tree, he's interacting with this tree, he's drawing this tree, but this tree is probably not going to look exactly like that tree, you know. He's picking his perspective, he's being really in control and in charge of your vision and what you see and what you want out of life and out of the world, and maybe you got to stand up for it a little bit in order to get it. But this is, the artist brings their vision to reality. I mean, as far as like they observe reality and then they put it together with their own little take on it, right? And so this is being this artist, this creative interpretation or being able to be creative and bring that to the world and seeing the world through your own eyes and through your own individual creative lens and being a co-creator with life. Because the artist is, you know, looking at reality and then co-creating with reality. We have these two entities mimicking each other in almost similar stances, the tree and the artist, right? And they're sort of mirroring each other a little bit here and bringing, so that you're really working with reality and being able to combine your vision and what you'd like with what's possible, what exists already, and bringing those two things together to bring to the world. So, all right, Leo, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes, comments, and subscribes. I really appreciate them. Love interacting with you on YouTube. Well, I don't really like YouTube's like platform as far as interacting. I find it confusing and difficult, but I do enjoy hearing from you guys. I like that. So anyway, I'll see you next week.